1 minute until showtime.
Hello, everybody. Welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. Ben and I, as always, have a terrific show planned for you. In the first hour, we're going to have a company called InfoStreet, talking about businesses and doing work in the cloud. It's going to be very interesting. We have the CEO and founder, Sia Farah, is going to be here. And also in the second hour, computer and technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. So sit back, relax, as we bring you 2 hours of Computer America right here.
Your show will go live in 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1.
Broadcasting live, it's America's longest-running national radio talk show on computers, Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. Look for Craig's weekly column in your favorite newspaper. This show is being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. Keep it here for technology news, computer products, guest interviews, and your phone calls. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome into the Computer America Show. It's the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. Computer America is heard around the world and coast to coast. And I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And welcome into another edition of the Computer America Show. Hopefully all of you had a really nice day yesterday. And, I'm looking forward to the James Bond movie that's coming out this Friday.
So is that coming out this Friday already?
Yeah, this Friday. Going to be looking forward to that. So big James Bond fan, and your mom and I are going to go see it. So together, and then maybe go out to dinner afterwards. Either Friday or Saturday, not sure which, but definitely on the weekend we're going to be seeing it. And hopefully all of you have nice weekend plans as well. If you now we have a terrific show planned for you today. In the second hour, we're going to do computer and technology news. That's brought to you by Slimware Utilities. They are the official optimization software of Computer America, and we got some interesting stories for you in the second hour. And in the first hour, we're going to talk about businesses, small businesses, taking all of their work and putting it into the cloud, and the ramifications of doing that. Is it a good thing? Is it a bad thing? Why should you do that? What advantages do you get? Here to answer those questions and more, we'll be talking to him shortly, will be the CEO and founder of InfoStreet, Sia Farah is going to be joining us. He's the CEO and founder of InfoStreet. And it's going to be really interesting, I think, to talk about this. Now, if you have a comment or a question for our guest, we'd love to hear from you. Give us a call at 347-884-8881. That's 347-884-8881. I'll get you on and get you through. If you're radio shy and you don't want to make that call, but you still have a question for our guest, we'd love to hear from you. Any page at the internet home of our radio show, ComputerAmerica.com, any page on the upper right-hand corner, you'll see it says submit a question. Just click that link. It'll take you to our question submission page where you can type in your question and hit the submit button. Ben and I will instantly see your question. We'll ask your question. We'll pose it to our guest on your behalf. It's just that simple. So a number of ways that you can reach us, and we certainly love to hear from you. 347-884-8881. The other thing is that we are a radio talk show. Always have been, probably always will be. But we also bring to you live video streaming. We've been doing it now for a couple of years and have been quite successful at it. And it's really easy for you to do. Just go again to ComputerAmerica.com, and on any page, there's a little menu there that appears in every page. Just click on the one that says Show Lounge. That's all you have to do. It'll start up immediately. You'll be able to not only listen to us, but you'll be able to see us. In this case, today you'll be able to see myself. You'll be able to see Ben. You won't see our guest. He's on the phone this time. But one thing that you can do is that Ben has the technology to display websites, videos, movies, background. See, you can see everything that we're talking about. So it's just another nice way to interact with the Computer America show. And we invite you to join us on our live video stream. So those are all the different ways you can talk with us and communicate with us, or you can just sit back and relax and enjoy the show, whatever you like. Ben, any other points or things that you want to let our listeners know before we get our guest up on the program?
No, I think you said just about everything.
Okay. Well, okay, then that's what we'll do. As I said, our guest this hour is from a company called InfoStreet. Now, InfoStreet has emerged as a leading cloud software provider, and their long-cherished mission has become the accepted mechanism for software delivery and usage. Now, through the use of SmartStreet software, InfoStreet was able to leap into the future of cloud applications. When big businesses began to move to the cloud, a new need emerged from these users, the need for a custom cloud solution. Now, here with us to provide the insight on future trends and technology on cloud-based applications and working in the cloud is the CEO and founder of InfoStreet, Sia Farah. Sia, welcome into Computer America. How are you today?
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
So give us a little background with your company. Why did you decide to move into this area?
So the background of the company is actually rather interesting. Believe it or not, some 21 years ago, we started this company, and by the internet standards and the cloud standards, we're definitely a granddaddy. Back then, I used to work at a company called Next for Steve Jobs, and we had a substantially more powerful solution than anything that was available at the desktop or otherwise. And at that time, we were being beat on a daily basis by Microsoft Windows, which was not even Windows 95. This is back in 93 timeframe. And our solution was substantially better, but we couldn't be able to, we weren't able to go ahead and capture the market. So once I had started InfoStreet, about a year into it, one day I was thinking about what we're doing, and I was thinking about the only operating system that would beat Windows at the desktop is no operating system at all. So back in 1995, we set out to create a system in the sky, in the cloud. Back then the words cloud and SaaS, none of those were coined. We set out to make this system so that anybody could be anywhere using any device and use the software and not have to be tied into a Windows machine or a Sun machine or an Apple machine and stuff. So that's really the genesis of what we are seeing today in terms of our application. Now the world has caught on, thank God, and now cloud is a household name, but this is how we started 21 years ago.
Yeah. Okay. So today you offer this. Give us an insight. Why should small businesses? I know why large businesses need to be in the cloud, because large businesses need to be everywhere and do everything. Why do you advise small businesses to move their part or all of what it is that they do to the cloud? What are some of the benefits?
So there's actually a multifacets to this answer, and the best way to describe it is that there are some tools available that were not available to them prior to the cloud. You know, I call the internet and the cloud the great democratizer, because back then, if you wanted to have a nice sales automation solution or whatnot, it was only available to the very big companies, and they would spend $1 million buying it and another $1 million customizing it. That would price out any small business. But today, with the advent of the cloud, customers could get that for $10 a month. So they were able to have nice solutions that were once only put aside for big businesses. Now they could have it for small businesses. So the availability and the affordability has made it that small businesses are all looking at cloud-based solutions. However, small business has something, a nemesis, and that nemesis is change. And most small businesses say, hey, I've been doing it always like this, and it works, and why should I go through a learning curve and incur cost or whatnot? And there's actually a very good reason for that to happen, and I would like to encourage all small businesses to examine that. And the reason for that is that since so many people are going, there is a huge competitive advantage or competitive disadvantage if one doesn't go to the cloud. So in this case, although change is most people's nemesis, if one doesn't change, they will fall behind the market and eventually will not be able to be competitive. However, if they do use it, there are so many tools that they could definitely turn this into their competitive advantage.
Okay. So there are a lot of advantages to working in the cloud. What you offer at InfoStreet, I think initially you offer apps that allow them to bring their business to the cloud. Is that correct?
Well, yes. What we do is, in order to make it easier for small businesses, and we actually focus on the small business market, in order to make it easier for them, we provide them with what we call Sky Desktop for free. This is a place where they could have all their applications online, and they could store all their files. They would only have one password to remember, one bill to pay, and if they need support, one place to call. So this is their centralized place in the cloud. However, this Sky Desktop could be accessed via any device, anywhere. You could be at your office or an internet cafe in Barcelona. You could still use it. And within that, there's an app market. And with the app market, there are applications that you could choose. Some are free, some are for pay, some are free to start, and then you eventually, if you go beyond thresholds, you could go ahead and pay for it, just like any other software solution. And by doing this, we're offering the small businesses to be able to try and figure out what are the tools they need to use for their offices, and basically use Sky Desktop and App Market. So the Sky Desktop is free. The App Market, some apps are free, some are for pay. And the obvious question of how do we make our money is that when they do buy apps from the App Market, which is normally very price competitive, we do receive a share from the app developer. So that's how we make our living. And also, one more thing to mention about this is that, let's say even 5 years ago, if you talk to a small business, you would say, you should be using the cloud because it's a competitive advantage. They would say, well, why would I need that? All my employees are under one roof and nobody works from home, so why would I need that?
Good question.
But the reality of it is, pardon me?
Good question. Go ahead. Why?
Yeah. They would ask that question. I mean, I've literally have talked to people that they ask me that question. Mm-hmm. But the reality of it is that nowadays people are using cloud applications, even if all their employees are under one roof, because they are getting better solutions, and solutions that might work on your desktop, your laptop, or your phone or iPad for that matter, and any tablet. So they're getting better solutions. So people are going for the better solutions, and they are having a cloud. They're basically, most of the developers are providing their best solutions in the cloud right now. So even if you don't have your employees, working from home and elsewhere, it's still quite better for you to have them, use the cloud application, because you get the best software, and you also could use that as more of a operating expense versus a capitalized expense. The other benefit it provides for you is it allows you to broaden your horizons, so that in the past you may have not even considered working for somebody remotely. Let's say you live in Cheyenne, Wyoming, and there's only so much work available in Cheyenne, mm-hmm. and compared to Los Angeles or New York or Raleigh, North Carolina. So what happens is that now with this advent, you would be able to work for other people, live where you want to, or you could hire people that are living in a lower cost community and therefore costing you less, and still do the work. And because they're all using the same cloud-based computer, it's not necessarily feeling like they're quite remote. They're always there for you.
So that you can literally farm out work, you're saying, to other places where it's less expensive to do business, and
What?
go ahead.
Go ahead. Sorry,
No,
I didn't mean to interrupt.
no,
Go
no,
ahead.
no. I'm saying, I mean, that's my question. I mean, you can farm work out to other locations or other parts of the country or of the globe.
Right. So the original idea was that it was going to be for farming out, and the people would say that, I don't farm out, I don't outsource, so why do I need cloud-based solutions? But the reality is, right now, people are using cloud-based solutions for non-outsourced solutions for their own very own employees. For instance, we have employees under our roof here in Los Angeles, California. We have some in San Francisco. We have some in Florida. And, these employees are all our employees. They're not outsourced. But because of the fact that we're all using the same cloud-based solution, we have our own email, instant messenger, we have CRM and whatnot. Therefore, there is no feeling that these are outsourced employees. They're the same employees, except that the only difference is that when we see their face, it's through a video conference versus a real conference. And some of the small businesses at first were saying, well, this is not quite for me and stuff. And there was, once again, two answers for that. Number one is that, not everybody has to do it. It's an option that you have that. If you find somebody who is really good and you want to hire them and they're not willing to relocate to your city, you may be able to still hire them. So it's an optional situation. And the second thing is that if you feel that this adds to your competitive advantage, then you will go that direction.
So what about things like that they're strongly entrenched in the cloud? Let's say, for example, Microsoft Office. There's 365 now. Basically, it's in the cloud. Can I use that or other software suites on the Sky desktop because they're already in the cloud? I mean, how would I use those?
Yes. So Sky Desktop and with this app market has made agreements with many companies out there. And for that, for instance, people could use Google Apps, people could use Office 365 and whatnot. Those are the ones that we have agreements with. We have them in our app market. The ones we don't have agreements with, we've set it up so you could still use it through your Sky Desktop. You just have to re-log in again to their system. When they are with our system, you log in once and you just click on an icon and you start using it.
Mm-hmm.
If they're not connected to our system, what you do is you could still create the icon, go there, but it would be a separate relationship and you would have to pay that bill or whatnot. But Sky app market is growing by the week, and every week we're adding new people to it, and I mean new apps, if you will. And as a result, it's growing and growing. It's making the job easier. The other benefit is that we try to put at least 3 applications of any kind so that small businesses that don't have time to go and research all over the internet to say, for instance, if you want to research a CRM or Salesforce automation or anything along those lines, if you do an internet search, you would get hundreds of applications out there.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be very tough to decide which one to do. With the Sky app market, what we do is we try to bring 3 in each category in there, 3 or more, but mostly 3. You could go ahead and you could do a free trial on any one of them, play with it and see if you like it. And once you like it, you could go ahead and, commit to it. Otherwise, you could go try something else. So we're trying to make it easier for people to use. As you know, since our philosophy is that change is difficult for small businesses and we're the champion of small businesses, what we're trying to do is to make that change as painless as possible.
I think change is painful for most people just don't like change. I'm sure you're going to agree with me there, Steve. People just don't like to get comfortable with a way of doing something and they go, well, okay, it's working. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And that's pretty much how people view it. Yet there are many advantages, as some of them you've outlined here today, for them to do that. Now, what about businesses that are already solidly entrenched? Let's say I'm using QuickBooks or I'm using Quicken, and I'm very happy with that. You're saying, and now I know even Intuit, who makes these products, is bringing cloud versions of those applications to consumers. Do you work with those companies, or as you say, if you don't work with them, can they still use those products and integrate it with Sky Desktop?
Yes and no. The yes is that if they have a cloud-based solution, yes, we could definitely integrate it. But if they're a localized solution, then there are local. Somebody bought one and put it on one machine, and we have no access to that. So there's really no integration that is happening. However, there's a couple of points to say about that. Number one is that if people are entrenched with something and they really don't want to change, what we're trying to bring them is the opportunity, but not the obligation to change. So that's one thing that we need to mention, because the opportunity is there to be, more competitive and probably reduce some cost and grow faster. But if they are not willing to do it, that's fine, and they could go ahead and do that. But the second thing that I alluded to a little bit earlier in the conversation, that is, most of the companies, the software companies, even the bigger software companies, are going to have a cloud-based solution is as follows. You just mentioned Office 365 and Intuit. Those are two very great examples of it. Let's say if we went back 15 years and you talk to an Intuit or anybody, you would say, hey, do you want to have a cloud-based solution? They would say, you're crazy. We have all these people who are using our software, and why would we cannibalize that? And why would we go ahead and do that? But the fact is that there is such a thing that I call the failure of success, meaning that when you are a Microsoft Office or an Intuit where you have, let's say, 94% of the market, then people, let's say they got the Intuit 2011, and they're comfortable with it, and they don't want to change. So Intuit has already captured all the market, and they can't really sell them any more upgrades, if you will. So the revenue from the Intuit product line will diminish because they were so good at capturing the entire market. Yet for the software company, if we change that to the fact that they are paying on a monthly basis, like a subscription, the bits become that the software company is getting regular recurring revenue. And the benefit to the end user is because the software company is making revenue off of that software, they are making that software bigger, better, better, and therefore they are getting better solutions, which is why I said originally that some of this software-based, the cloud-based solutions are the better solutions versus the old model of I get it and I put it on my machine, and if there's a disk crash, I have to go live with it and all that kind of stuff. So as a result, you see the big company, the giant companies who have lots and lots of strategies, they have went on the strategy of they want to offer this as a service through the cloud. Microsoft's done it, Google's done it, Intuit has done it, Salesforce obviously has done it. So you see, when all those thinkers decided that this is the right way to go, then this is the direction that most software companies would go. As a result, you would get better software via the cloud, and then you also know exactly how much you're spending, every month, and they know that they have a recurring revenue. Did I get too technical on that one in terms of finances? But
not at all. Not
okay.
at all. Not at all. You're answering some good questions. You're providing some good solutions. Let's talk about security and safety.
Well, before we move on from this app market, I something that we run into here on the show, because Craig and I do a lot of stuff behind the scenes, and it's whenever a company has a problem, or whenever you have a problem, someone else somewhere in the world, probably 5 to 6 years by my internet searches, has already had that same problem, come up with a way to solve that problem, and has started a business a program, some kind of service to solve that problem, before you even think of it. So how easy is it to discover different apps on your app market? Is it separated by category? Is it things that are relevant to your business and you suggest it? How would one go about looking for different programs that one wouldn't even know exist in the app market?
Right. That's an excellent question. And the answer to that is that there are apps in the app market separated by categories, and you could search for them, and there's keywords in them, and you could search for keywords. However, our staff here also has a job of bundling some things that go together that one might have not thought about. And you could say, for instance, you could buy this CRM and Salesforce automation and also this e-marketing solution separately. But if you didn't think about it, here's a bundle that has the two of them together, and maybe you get a little bit of a lesser price. And this way, we are making the job easier for people who are not as learned. You are a very learned person. You know how to go search and everything like that, and you'll find your own solutions. So for you, it's build your own, and you could go pick up the apps that you would like. And there's some people who really, don't have a lot of ideas as to where to start, and they would get something like a small business starter and then go ahead and start with that bundle.
Makes sense.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit about security with this. Now, it's inherent when you use with a large company like Microsoft Office, there's going to be a fair amount of security involved that they have in place. When you use Google, the documents, Google Docs, and the calendar, they have some fairly good security measures. Does your company, or do you bring any more security to these applications, or do you provide security for ones that don't have it? I mean, speak a little bit about how you deal with the security issues.
Sure. And security is one of those that, once again, the perception seems to be the reality, and we need to discuss about the perception that people have. And sometimes people feel that if they have a computer in their office, the perception is it's here, it's safer, it's close to me, I could visit it. However, if we talk about their money, your money under your mattress is a lot closer to you, and you could visit it anytime you want, but everybody puts their money in the bank because it's safer, because they have special security people taking care of that money and making sure, there's insurance clauses or whatnot, but basically that's the place to go. And then if it's under your mattress, you can't go to an ATM in New York and take your money out of your mattress, but you can in a bank. So the same analogy works, is that your data is very similar to your money. So it may feel safer that it's closer to you, notwithstanding the fact that most of the crimes are normally with somebody with in-house when it comes to data and everything like that. So it feels closer, it feels more secure. But in reality, it's not, because small businesses can't hire a security specialist to audit their system. However, the software providers, they are now making their living. This is their bread and butter. This is their storefront, if you will, on the internet. So they need to make sure their storefront is secure. And you hear all these embarrassments from time to time that, such and such company got hacked into and the credit cards were gone and stuff like that. And, that actually affects their stock and affects everything. So everybody has their own staff. And the fact of the matter is that you're going to have your data, your information substantially more secure in a cloud situation than it would be in a small business. Now, a big business, let's say an IBM or somebody, may think differently because they have a lot of staff. But for the average small business, the actual salaries of these security experts would be unfathomable, let alone all the software and hardware that needs to be put into place. So for the small business especially, I would say, and I may come from a biased place because I come from that world, but for the small business, I would especially say that the cloud is more secure for them than having something in their offices.
Now, are we talking about companies that are like retail outlets, with a point of sale systems? Are we talking strictly office environments? What kind of companies are we talking about here, or both, or what?
Yeah, the solution is really widely horizontal, meaning that it really doesn't have a special vertical of law offices or insurance companies or florists or realtors. This is a set of solutions that appeals to any small business. So it's almost like a whole sector of the market. And small businesses, by the government standards, like literally 50 people or less. And where we see most usage is somewhere between 5 and 20 people, although we have some clients that are only 1 people, and we have some clients that have 200 or 300 people. So the solutions do say small business, but they really go through the gamut. The issue is that the smaller the business, the higher the possibility that they can't afford a good IT person to set up their computer environment. And today, if you don't have a proper computer environment set up, you are not competitive. So by using something like a Sky Desktop, Sky App Market, you are in effect getting an IT in a box as well. So you get all your software there, you could get email, calendar, and whatnot in there. And then you also have a company that is, organizing for you. All you got to do is get an internet connection, log in, and use it. And you could literally use it within a minute after signing up.
Yeah.
Where if you're a small business and you have to go hire an IT person, the cost is exorbitant for you.
All right, Ben and I are talking to Sia Farrar. He is the CEO and founder of InfoStreet. We're talking about small businesses bringing their business to the cloud. We're going to pause, and we'll continue on with them. You're listening to the Computer America Show. News, tips, polls, review coming up as well. This is the Computer America Show. We will be right back. Stay with us.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Sometimes disaster strikes. Data can be lost due to many different reasons. Accidental reformatting, power spikes, virus attacks. Zero Assumption Recovery provides a suite of highly effective and thorough data recovery software for Windows operating systems. ZA is suitable for home users and small businesses who need a powerful data recovery solution for Windows and Linux file systems.
Go to z-a-recovery.com.
Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com.
Don't hit me. I'm standing on 20. Oh, hi, Marty Winston with a news tips bulletin review for Computer America. This time, a really clever switch from Panasonic. It came in when we bench tested their low noise ventilation fan with an LED light. This switch is sensor equipped, both an adjustable condensation sensor and a built-in 5 to 60 minute countdown timer. With the switches off, we just breathed on the sensor and that delivered moisture enough to automatically turn on the fan. It actually senses both humidity and temperature, ergo dew point, so it adjusts automatically to the season. That means it can automatically both help prevent steamed up mirrors and help exhaust overly humid air on those summer days when you decide to air out the place. Bottom line, the Panasonic adjustable condensation sensor, ventilation, fan, and light control loads a lot of cleverness behind its switch plate. Marty Winston with News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour. We are here with InfoStreet, and we're talking all about their desktop application, their apps, and their app market and everything. And we're talking about security. And one thing that a lot of companies have a really hard time bouncing back from, Sia, is that small businesses really can't handle a loss of data. That is something, it happens all the time. Like, we talk about on the show a lot, and it's something that it isn't, it's not something that might happen. It's when is it going to happen? And so a loss of data can be, very, very bad. Does your company provide any kind of data backup only just within its apps, or are there other solutions to back up all kinds of data to your system?
Right. So the files that they've uploaded using our file sharing, if they're using our app, those files are all uploaded and backed up. The conditions that they've set up their app market with and the apps that they have, that's all backed up and there, and it's always available. And there are applications out there that could back up their entire laptop or desktop or whatnot into the cloud, so they don't lose productivity, and they could back up with that. In fact, one of the things that you mentioned right now is perhaps another benefit for small businesses. For instance, a current small business, if they have a machine that gets a virus and it crashes, it takes them 2 days to rebuild it and bring it out. But if you have only 20 people in your company, 2 days of one person is quite an exorbitant amount of time. I mean, it really would put a dent into things. However, with your information all being in the cloud, the computer is irrelevant. So basically, you could sit in front of another computer and you could just continue to do your work, and you just reset that computer that had viruses for whatever reason, and then you could just reboot it from scratch, and then you don't have to deal with having to rescue that one to use it. So the idea is that since your data is separated from your device, the device becomes irrelevant. And that is why you want small businesses to have as much as data in the cloud, because those are backed up, they're ready for disaster recovery, where if they're local, all the work of that disaster recovery, even if you do have backups, is on you.
So the viruses and what have you that are typically plague computer systems don't affect the data that's in the cloud. There's no way to transmit that virus over there and get your data ruined by a virus that goes over into the cloud.
Normally, the current iteration now, obviously hackers are just as busy creating new technology. So 5 years from now is not quite sure. But in today's technology, normally the cloud solutions, the document management or the email or whatnot, they're just carriers of the virus, and the virus goes from here to there. When there are viruses that belong to the server, then you have an army of people to go ahead and fix that at the server level. There have been some. Recently there was even a virus for the secure socket layer, the SSL. But everybody rushed to it within a few hours. Everybody had patches for them, and it was all done. But now we're talking about a professional group of people that their sole business in life is to protect their data, doing it versus somebody doing it on a do-it-yourself basis. So the viruses that you see today are affecting people are mostly at the local level, whether that local level is your computer or your phone or whatnot.
So you really, because of that layer of protection, basically people who are using things like Sky Desktop really needn't concern themselves with malware. That really doesn't bother their data. Their data is safe, is what you're saying.
The data that is in the cloud is safe. However, if most people, they need to buy antivirus for their own machines because somebody may email them a virus that might read their contacts and then send spam mail on their behalf and whatnot. So whatever is local, it's outside the cloud, it needs to be virus protected, and the stuff that is in the cloud is normally well protected. Like I said, after all these years, there was this virus called Heartbleed that was on last year, and it was quick rest.
Wow. So that's good to know. So your stuff is safe, basically, and
yes.
which makes perfect sense. And if you do everything in the cloud, then really you don't have to worry, because you say it's equipment independent. I mean, I can check my documents that I created either on that computer or my smartphone, if so inclined. I mean, really, if I have the apps, I can do that.
Yes, that's absolutely correct. And that is the beauty of it, because of the fact that it gives you a freedom that you wouldn't have before. Like, for instance, in the past, somebody may send you a document. I don't know, for instance, you on a Mac computer and somebody sent you a Visio document, and you would say, well, I don't know how to use this and stuff like that. But if you're using a cloud-based solution, whatever comparable to Visio is, that you guys are both looking at the same document, perhaps even collaborating at the same time, it makes productivity go up enormously.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about the apps that you have that people would use if they come to Sky Desktop or InfoStreet. You're obviously, the cloud desktop is free. Signing up is free. Right. You have some apps like conference calling. I'm looking at some of them here. Tasks, calendar, email. What are some of the ones that you offer? And
right.
Tell us a little bit about what it is that you have to offer.
Sure. To begin with, when somebody signs up, they not only get a free Sky Desktop, but they also get free user management solutions so that they could add users and delete users. And I'll touch upon that in a minute as to why that's so important. And we provide them by default with a free address book, free calendar, free conference calling, and there are some other solutions that are there that are free trials, if you will, and you want to try it. For instance, things have to do with workflow management, and things have to do with invoicing or screen sharing or file sharing. Like, for instance, there's a Sooner file sharing there that people could create very secure areas. If they're working with multiple people, that they could go ahead and create that. So the benefit is that you have all these applications, and you could pick the ones that you have need for, maybe email, maybe other reasons, like, for instance, even doing tracking of what users are coming to your site, and you could do chat with them and whatnot. But what I was alluding to earlier was that the benefit is not only you have all these applications, but the benefit is that you have your user management, and that's a huge benefit. I have talked to many, many companies that said, okay, we had this person who's no longer with us, and then 6 months later, we found out that, oh my God, we're paying $100 a month for this solution for him, and that $20 a month there, and for a year I've been paying $120 extra for this one person. With Sky Desktop, what you do is, when an employee is no longer with you, you go ahead and click one button and you go ahead and disable that employee. Then automatically, with API from the back end, without the user having to do anything, all of the applications that user was using stops, and the billing stops at the edge of that 1 month, so that you have no further liability than your normal monthly commitment. And likewise, when you bring on an employee, you could have the same situation. You could have a series of default apps that you have for your company. So when you bring an employee on, you click a button and they go to their desktop and they see all these applications, and it's there. So this user management is really all about increasing efficiency. This all comes from in-house, if you will, because we are a company that we are very, very focused on efficiency, and we have a saying in our kitchen wall that says only 10% of our employees are human, for the rest we employ technology. So we're really focused on efficiency, and therefore we're passing that on to people, and this user management allows them to pick the apps very easily, and then from there on they could go ahead and if somebody's no longer there, they could go ahead with one click of a button, stop them.
I'm looking at the ones, for example, Street Smart Address Book. It's free forever. Street Smart Employee Directory. It's free forever. Street Smart Conference Calling. Free forever. Street Smart Calendar. Free forever. You have a lot of free forevers. And then you have ones that you have, like a Street Smart Knowledge Base, or Street Smart File Sharing, or Page Blender, email. email archiving. So you have a number of apps, quite a number of them here, that people can kind of look and choose, which ones they want to incorporate, or the admin would do that, and then everybody else who's on this would be given those. Is that how it works?
Yeah, it's pretty smart in that respect. So the admin has an option to choose that. There's a couple of options. There is that every employee could buy for themselves, the admin could buy for every employee, or the employees could request from admin and say, I need to use this, CanGrade application, if you will, or Majora or eSlip or whatnot, or Street Smart Email, and they request from the admin, and the admin then decides whether they want to authorize that request to purchase it for them. So it's very much designed just along the lines of, a small business being able to manage their budget. Not every employee could go wild and start buying every application out there. So you have controls over there.
Okay. And there are a number of different ones, as I mentioned here. I'm just looking at some of the ones here that are free, and you offer those. And of course, you have those that are featured. You have like Invoice, the Toast Invoice, which is an intuitive, easy invoicing tool that allows you to create invoices online and manage them from any mobile device. So you can see which ones they have, and I guess and decide which ones are appropriate for the business that you're in. Correct? That's how you go about doing it.
Yes, and that's exactly how people do it, and it's actually very nice because most of these have free trials and could try it, and some of them have free limits. For instance, there's an application that I know for a fact that I've seen a few people use and very happy about it, and that is, for instance, the application is called CanGrade, and CanGrade is a candidate grading system, if you will. It's an online recruitment. You put your job description in there, and then when you want to hire new employees, they go there, they fill out a couple of questions. They ask, they basically go through a questionnaire, and CanGrade emails you what they think about this application, what kind of person they are to work with, and what kind of knowledge they have. So, for instance, CanGrade is one of those that you could use up to 10 candidates for free. But if you want to have more and more candidates, then you have to pay for it. And most small businesses, normally get 5 or 10 of the, resumes coming in, and this is a very good tool to figure out whether this is a person that's easy to work with, hard to work with, or a person that is just the cat's meow, and it helps them decide that. So some of these are very nice for people to try, and they try it for free, and once they try it and they like it, they could go ahead and say, okay, by not hiring the wrong person, I've saved myself, I don't know, $2,000 a month or $4,000 a month. So it's totally worth it to spend some money and get this application.
Now, it also looks like you have, for example, Movilo, which is an online shopping cart. Movilo, okay.
Right.
You say Movilo, I say Movilo. No, this is
it's a tomato.
Right. So this is for people who want to set up an online website shopping source, I guess, with a shopping cart.
That is correct. And the benefit of Movilo is that it also has a mobile counterpart to itself.
Okay. So this is again for people who want to do business online, stores, that type of thing. So or commerce, I guess, e-commerce.
Right.
Why use your? I mean, there are other website builders out there that offer, just come to us and we'll handle all of that. We'll do the invoicing for you and everything. Why would I want to use this Sky App Market as opposed to just going to a place and say, okay, build the website for me and do all my, and all I need to know is who am I going to send what to what? What would be the difference?
Yeah, I mean, that's correct. I mean, first of all, software is like people. As varied as people are, their software needs are the same, mm-hmm. Meaning that, there's 7 billion different ways to use software. We are presenting one way, and that one way is that, especially in the time of trouble, of, emergency or whatnot, you want to have one place to go to, and you don't want to have to spend the time with your accounting manager at the end of the month with 20 different companies, and what is this $3.45 bill? What is that $8 bill? I know they all seem small, but they could add up, and you don't want to go through that, and you don't want to say, okay, I don't remember my password for my CRM solution or my website solution. There's nothing to stop you from using all that, but we are providing an aggregation point for you. And what's unique about our solution is that aggregation point has single sign-on built into it, as well as support, so that you could come in, log into one place, and then just click on the icon and go elsewhere. And you have to you have one place to go for support. So that's what's unique about us. And what I alluded to earlier is the fact that the very thing that you just described is the very thing that some people have come to us and said this is one of the reasons they love their Sky Desktop and Sky App Market, is because if they lose an employee or add on an employee, they don't need to remember what are all the 42 places they have to go to add the solutions for them. There's a standard package that this employee, when it comes in, he or she would get these solutions, and they're ready to go, and they're gonna just start using them. Or if they go away, I disable them in one place. So what you're saying is possible, but it's certainly more work. And since Sky Desktop is free, it's not a bad idea to use a free solution to lessen your work.
Talk a little bit about what's coming up. What's coming up for InfoStreet and Sky Desktop?
So what's coming up is we have signed up a couple of very large organizations to bring more and more solutions to the app market. So we believe that 2016 would be an absolute banner year with a lot more security, like antivirus solutions, and perhaps even more file sharing and screen sharing solutions, and some telephony solutions so people could have virtual phones everywhere. So that's from the software perspective of it. And from the marketing perspective of it, we also have a couple of very large organizations that have decided to roll out this solution to all the client base. So as a result, we would have a much larger market. And it's one of those things that success begets success. So the larger the market, the more applications you have, the larger your possibilities become. So we see 2016 an absolute banner year for us.
See, talk a little bit about, I know you mentioned it was for free and everything, but typically what are some of the costs involved with the actual apps itself? Typically, what is a business going to pay for this service?
It really depends on what they're going to use the application for. For instance, let me give an example. If they have a website and they want to have a solution where they put in, visitor chat on their system, typically that's about $40 a month, and they only get one of those. And if somebody wants it, they would have to pay $40 a month. But if somebody wants to, just let's say has an accounting office and doesn't really care about selling to the end user, but wants to get productivity solutions to their people, they could potentially think about something like $10 an employee to get, email and file sharing and knowledge base and task and all sorts of disk space that is backed up. Mm-hmm. So in reality, the use determines the price. All I do know is that the overall price, it appears to be substantially more manageable per employee than it would be in the alternative models. Okay.
Well, very interesting, really, Sia. And again, you can check all this out at infostreet.com, infostreet.com. Ben's been showing the website during the entire interview. Or you just go to computeramerica.com. It's right there on our homepage. We have a link right to the infostreetwebsite.com, and check it out and see if this is something that may be right for you or your small business. See, I want to thank you for being here with us on the show, and extremely interesting, and best of luck with you in your endeavors.
Thank you very, very much. It was an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Our pleasure. You take care. And
thanks again.
Thanks again. Best of luck to you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right. There you go. Okay. InfoStreet. Check it out. And this might be something for you. I mean, if you have a small business or you're thinking about moving to the cloud and you don't know exactly where to turn, check them out. It's an alternative. We thought we would present it to you and talk to the company's CEO and founder and check it out for yourself. All right. Boy, that logo sure looks nice.
It's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. It's really growing on me. I liked it initially, but it's even growing on me more. You need to send me those files so I can get it up on our website. So at this point, we're going to be doing computer news. I guess we can start. We got a lot of stories to do. So we can start off with computer news in this hour and continue on into the second hour, unless you have anything else you want to mention.
No, not really.
Okay, well, then let's do some news. All right. Today's computer and technology news is brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. You can visit them at slimwareutilities.com to clean, speed up, and optimize your Windows system. slimwareutilities.com.
All right, yeah. So a lot of different news stories today from a lot of different things covering new product releases, new services, announcements, and also I would argue the biggest thing had to be the release of the entirety of the Trans-Pacific Partnership text that we talked about. Now, it was just released today, so, and I think it was like something like 9 a.m. or something. So obviously this thing is a multi-hundred page document. So really, no one has had a chance to go over this thing in its entirety just yet. But just know that over the coming days and weeks, we'll be going into some of the different topics, and a lot of different technology questions are being discussed in the TPP deal, including things with internet service providers and copyright infringement, taxes, tariffs between all the different countries that are involved in it, including labor and goods, and just tons of things. Although I will say, the one bit of good news that we have heard so far is that cow semen is free of taxation out of Canada. So, if you're in the market for prime Canadian that stuff, you're in luck. It's gonna be cheaper than ever.
Okay.
No, but I just want to point out that no one has really had a chance to read over this whole thing. But in the coming weeks, we'll be talking more and more about it. And by the way, it's open for anyone to go read. You can go look it up and read it for yourself, though it's all full of legal jargon. It's not the most fun thing to read. So, just want to get that out of the way. Just want to say that was big happenings. But I think we will just start off, just barely touch this first story. How about Rufus?
Okay.
Rufus. You don't know Rufus?
Yeah. Beat Rufus.
Rufus is not a dog.
No, it's a cuff.
But it is their logo. Yeah, it's something that I hadn't really heard about, but this is from Maxim PC. And Rufus is a cuff, a tablet for your wrist. And if you're watching the video portion, you can see a nice big picture of it. And it looks formidable, I guess would be a word.
Yeah, it is. It looks like a watch on steroids. It's really big.
Like, they're not kidding when they say a tablet for your wrist. The device sports about a 3.2-inch touchscreen. Oh, by the way, this is from Maxim PC, Kevin Parrish. And it has the 3.2-inch touchscreen, making it bulkier than a smartwatch, but smaller than a tablet. They say that the overall dimensions are actually larger than that to make room for the 1,175 mega
Milliamp. Yeah, milliamp.
Recharge battery, speaker, front-facing camera, and internal antenna. So they said that we'll go into just what happened with the Kickstarter campaign and just what's inside this thing, but Suffice to say, if you are looking for a device that was going to dominate your arm, here you go.
Yeah, and it's interesting because it falls into a unique category. It's, as I say, it's bigger than a watch but smaller than a tablet, and there's nothing else like this. And evidently, they feel maybe someone who says, "I don't want to carry a tablet; it's too big, and I don't want to watch because it's too small." This might be just right. Goldilocks. It might be
people have drawn comparisons between this and Buzz Lightyear's wrist communicator.
Okay. So, and this is just coming out, and we'll talk more about this device. Some of the other stories coming up too. We're going to be talking about here is electrical brain stimulation may help you to lose weight, and scientists may have come up with a superconductivity in high temperature because, and also BlackBerry in the news, talking about their newest phone. We're going to just pause just for a few moments, and we'll be back with these stories and more. You're listening to the Computer America Show, 347-884-8881. We'll get Johnny get you through. We've got another News Tips Bulletin review coming up as well. Stay tuned for another hour of the Computer America program. We'll be right back, I promise.
Broadcasting live, it's the only national radio talk show on computers to air every weeknight. Computer America, hosted by national columnist Craig Crossman. The first hour's behind us, but there's still more of tech news, tech talk, and your phone calls. We're being beamed nationwide at ComputerAmerica.com. You got computer problems? Bring them on. You're listening to Computer America. Computers run the world, and we run computers. Call us or send us an email to live@computeramerica.com.
Well, hello, and welcome into hour 2 of the nation's longest-running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers. This is the Computer America Show, and I'm your host, Craig Crossman.
And I'm your co-host, Ben.
And again, wanted to thank our first-hour guests from InfoStreet, Sia Farah, talking about bringing small businesses to the cloud and the ins and outs of doing so. Again, if you missed any portion of that interview, we certainly invite you to listen to it again at ComputerAmerica.com, where we have all of our programs. Just click the archive selection from our menu there that appears on every page at ComputerAmerica.com, and you can visit and see and listen to the interview. It was very instructive, very interesting, I think, for anyone thinking about moving more of their business, if not all of their business, to the cloud. There's a lot of good stuff in there for you. So don't forget, tomorrow we're going to have our social media winner of the week. If you have not entered, please do so at ComputerAmerica.com. Just go to the Interact pull-down menu, and it'll say Social Media Contest. The instructions are there. It's so simple how to enter. Really, it's very simple, and you can get multiple entries. It just tells you how to do it, and we encourage you. And of course, giving away the Logitech MX2 Anywhere wireless mouse, valued at $80. Really nice mouse. Works with dark field technology. Works on glass surfaces, or the jeans that you're wearing. Anything. It and also multiple computers with a little push button. You can go up to 3 computers. Works with Bluetooth or Logitech's proprietary interface. It all works together, and but you can't win it unless you enter the contest. You only have to do it one time, too. Okay. All right. So Ben and I are doing computer and technology news, again brought to you by Slimware Utilities, the official optimization software of Computer America. We had just started. You had just started a story about Rufus, which is a tablet for your wrist, and I commented. I said, well, it falls in between those that they say a watch is too small and a tablet is too large. We need something that's just right, and like Goldilocks and the Three Bears, this might just be right for you. So please continue.
Right. Yeah. It's definitely something a little different, and different doesn't necessarily mean good. It doesn't mean bad. It's just something that we haven't seen before. And hey, phablets were different, and it's and those seem to have caught on. So this could be coming to a lot more devices if people really like the idea of having an actually possibly useful device on their wrist, because the smartwatches are fun and all, but they're very limited in just what they can do. This seems like it would have a lot more horsepower. So the Rufus Cuff was originally an Indiegogo campaign that happened about a year ago and collected about $460,000. The project page shows that the device includes a Texas Instrument A9 processor, 1 gig of RAM, wireless N, and Bluetooth 4.0, and it has 16 to 64 gigs of internal storage. And they said that it actually runs KitKat, which is, of course, an Android operating system. So the Rufus Cuff has a 9-axis accelerometer, gyroscope compass, 2 microphones, and a micro USB port for recharging the battery. There's also a vibration alert, LED alerts, and the flashlight functionality. The device supports multiple languages and is both spill and water resistant, which is perfect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you don't want to wear this on your wrist and have to worry every time you're around a drink that you're going to break it.
Yeah.
So they have a quote here from the CEO that, quote, "It's not just a glorified notification center. We eventually see everyone ditching their phones. This will replace the need for smartphones, wallets, watches, fitness trackers, everything." That's high ambition.
Pretty ambitious, yeah.
It's high ambition. It's high ambition for someone who garnered, admittedly, $460,000. That's nothing to sneeze at, but is looking to displace multiple multi-billion-dollar industries. That's hey, that's shoot for the stars. So yeah, they said that they added about 2,500 individuals have already pre-ordered the device. Most of them are young cord cutters and college students who don't want to pay a lot of money for monthly cellular contracts. So, they said that the device is tethered to a cell phone via Bluetooth when out and about and gets internet connection from a Wi-Fi when at home.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, they said it's probably made in America. You can use it to play music, watch movies, receive messages, surf the web, anything you would use a traditional tablet or phone for. Potentially, customers can pre-order the Rufus Cuff communicator here. They have a link here in the article for $250 before December 1st of this year. And they said it's expected to ship somewhere early next year.
Now, they show a picture of 2 guys wearing this. They're showing it, on their arms and everything. And it's bigger than a watch, about the size of a cell phone, smaller than certainly smaller than a tablet. In many ways, it looks like a cell phone that's strapped to your arm because it's not much bigger than it's about the size of a cell phone.
Yeah, the guy on the right is Cal Penn, as you may know him from Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, exactly.
So, obviously hobnobbing with celebrities is one way to go about it. But yeah, it's it doesn't look too restrictive. Like, walking around with this thing, it's not going to be, I think, too much of a pain. But you're definitely going to know it's there.
Yeah, especially if you have a long sleeve shirt or you're wearing a jacket over it. It's good.
Right.
But still, it does look interesting. I guess we'll see how it takes up. They're talking about the first quarter of 2016. Then this thing is going to come to market. And best of luck to them. All right. We're doing computer technology news, again, brought to you by Slimware Utilities. And this next story is from Engadget. Luma's has something called surround Wi-Fi. And what it does, it kills dead spots using multiple routers. Now, we know that there are Wi-Fi range extenders. I know a lot of companies make them, including Netflix, and they work.
Netflix.
Yeah, Netgear. Netgear makes it. Thank you. Netgear makes them, and there are a number of them out there. But and Google also. They've started a trend with its easy-to-use but pricey on-hub Wi-Fi router. Well, evidently, again, according to Steve Dent, who wrote this for Engadget, a startup company called Luma has created a router with the similar goal of giving you easy-to-use wireless security, monitoring, and device connections. Now, it adds a new twist by letting you use several of these devices throughout your home rather than just one. in order to increase coverage to, say, a corner office, similar to how the Sonos Wi-Fi speaker system works. The company calls it surround Wi-Fi, and each added device requires no additional setup. The system updates and tunes the signal automatically in order to always offer peak performance and speed. Again, that's according to the company. I mean, this makes a lot of sense. I mean, the range extender that we have from Netgear is very extensive. As you know, in our Florida location, the structure is concrete. Was it CBS construction, and which easily blocks Wi-Fi, and you can be in one room. If you're in another room, you've got like 2 concrete walls to go through, and that can really damper the Wi-Fi connection. The range extender, we put one in, and it does a pretty good job. But the idea here is that you have multiple units like this around. Certainly, I would think would offer a more smooth distribution of the Wi-Fi signal in your home or office. Now, Luma also has enterprise-grade security and parental controls with device-level customization. All of that is controlled by a smartphone app that helps you quickly block unwanted users, connect devices without a password, or set website ratings for your children, to name just a few examples. You can also add timers to control how long your kids surf and monitor the total number of devices connected to your router, to name a few more features. There's even a feature that appears to let you monitor user browsing, which is actually a bit creepy. All right, but hey, you know, you want to be a creepy parent, this will certainly let you do that. Now, the company left out a few important details, like what type of Wi-Fi it supports, because there are still a number of them out there, and the maximum speed and throughput. However, this product is clearly not aimed at someone who may want to hack the antenna signal, but rather at folks who are willing to pay convenience and extra features. As such, the pricing is pretty high. It will run $299 for 3 devices. That's $125 per device. Do the math. For the next 30 days, and then climb to $199 per device and $499 for a 3-pack. That price for a single device alone gets you a pretty decent router and extender. But if you really need the simplicity and monitoring features, you now have another option besides Google. Pre-orders are now open, and shipping will start in early 2016. So there you go. Called Luma.
Seems like a streamlined, well-packaged option, because, you know, like Rick said at the beginning, they have repeaters, extenders, Wi-Fi signal boosters, and things like that. All these different devices that can help you really get that signal where you want it to be. But this seems like they obviously did a lot of work on the aesthetics of these devices. You wouldn't mind having these things littered throughout your home, because, you know, put it on a bookshelf, put it on, you know, put it on a dresser or something, and it wouldn't look too out of place. Like, it would look nice.
It's a nice looking. It's 1, 2, 3. It's a hexagon. It's hexagonal in shape, and it just kind of sits there, you know, innocuously, I guess, unless that little ring there lights up or something. I would think it would just be kind of in the background. You wouldn't even know it was there.
But I mean, you could use Wi-Fi signal repeaters, but then, you know, those things, depending on which kind you get, they could take up an outlet, like an entire outlet in a room.
Sure.
They could look like routers sitting all over the place, and those don't look very attractive, although they are getting better. But, you know, something like this, it's definitely, you're going to pay a premium for something that there are other options to solve. But I mean, if you're looking for something that's nice looking, probably very, very easy to install, and it's going to get the job done, then Luma seems to be trying to corner that market.
Now, it still plugs into the wall. I can't see a cord, and I assume it's got a power source. Has to be you have to plug it in.
Obviously, it's going to have a cord somewhere, but it's not going to plug directly into the wall. It's probably going to have a cord.
Right, exactly, which doesn't tie up all of your outlets wherever it is. Exactly.
Because some repeaters do plug directly into the wall, and then they take up both outlets.
The one that we have from Netgear plugs directly into the wall, and usually obscures or prevents you from using the second plug in the wall.
Yep.
But they are effective. We have used them before, and they're if you're looking to extend the range without getting a second router in your home, a range extender is probably the way to go. It's just a nicer way of doing it, although it'd be more costly. Okay.
All right. So from that story on to the next one, and the next one being, of all the people to get into virtual reality, who'd have thunk that the New York Times would be the next one to do it?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the New York Times VR app, virtual reality app, launches with portraits of refugee children. That's a little heartbreaking.
Yeah.
But yeah, so at a time when virtual reality, by the way, Engadget and this from Mona Lalwani. There we go. But yeah, this one from Engadget, and at a time when virtual reality is changing the way we experience entertainment, it was only a matter of time until the news outlets turned to immersive storytelling. Because if you've watched the news lately, they love new technology. They want to show you the flashiest animations, the craziest technology. They love to show it to you to really drive their message across and be more engaging. So the New York Times was one of the first major news outlets to announce its VR effort last month. And today, they launched the New York Times virtual reality app with 3 poignant portraits: a 9-year-old Sudanese boy, a 12-year-old Syrian girl, and an 11-year-old boy from eastern Ukraine, to highlight the plight of 30 million children who have been displaced by war. The Times is making a Google Cardboard kit available to its domestic subscribers, along with their Sunday editions in November on November 8th. But the stories can also be viewed without a headset on both iPhone and Android devices. They said that by creating a 360-degree environment that encircles the viewer, virtual reality creates the experience of being present within distant worlds, making it uniquely suited to projects like this one that speak to our senses of empathy and community. What better use of the technology could there be than to place our readers within a crisis that calls to us daily with great urgency, and yet, because of the incessancy of the call, often fails to rouse us at all. So some nice highlights there, if you didn't get that. With the Sunday edition of the New York Times, they're going to include a cutout foldable cardboard headset that you're gonna kind of fold out and make on your own, slip your compatible smartphone into, and you're going to be able to download the app, check out the stories, and actually probably listen to a video and look at these pictures in 360-degree environments. We've had some examples of this on the show before. They're very, very impactful, much different than just looking at a flat image. And they're going to try to use this additional impact to highlight some story cases, as they said, children displaced by war, and try to give you maybe not a different perspective, but just a more immersive message.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, good. New York Times doing some good work with this VR app.
But no, to finish up with the article, this isn't the first VR experience that highlights the magnitude of war. They said that earlier this year, the United Nations collaborated with UNICEF, VRSC, and Samsung Milk VR to produce Clouds Over Sidra, a VR film based on a 12-year-old Syrian girl experience at a refugee camp in Jordan. The film validated the potential of VR to evoke a strong sense of empathy. Now, with the New York Times turning to virtual reality as an extension of its stories, a larger shift seems underway.
Good.
Craig.
The New York Times is...
Craig.
Yes.
What do you think about the shift to virtual reality?
Well, newspapers have to deal with the times, and they just can't be, just paper and
But
worth.
this isn't just about newspapers. This is about all news organizations, and they're starting to use virtual reality to, just have more of an impact on their journalism.
Yeah, I think it's a good thing. It's like anything else. I think
You,
it's a
you
sign of
seem
times.
to be like the one person on the show that actually had a problem with virtual reality. You said it, had a high risk of giving you motion sickness and just being all around an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah, but when you're doing, as long as you're not doing virtual reality with race cars and everything, if this is the people and an environment, and you can kind of look around and see for yourself, I don't think that would be very disorienting, and would obviously bring the point home better. I think than you can just with words and photographs. And the fact that the New York Times is doing it, I think, just adds more credibility to the technology. And I hope that it'll be successful for them. Newspapers have to do something. I mean, because it's a dying technology, and they're going to have to come up with new and novel ways like this to preserve the. As the older generation dies out, the newspaper generation and millennials don't have you come in who have probably never even picked up a newspaper. When was the last time you read a newspaper, Ben?
Not too long ago. My bigger thing is that I think the newspaper organizations that were going to fail have already failed. I think what we see today in the newspapers that are still around, they've effectively jumped the gap to having a powerful online presence and also providing their traditional newspaper. But I think they're going to be okay in that they are actually embracing new technology. We saw a lot of newspapers 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 years ago start to fall by the wayside as people were, reading on apps and, just not picking, just not buying their traditional means. But the newspapers that have been able to endure and stick around, they now have apps to go along with their newspapers. They now have, they're bringing in things like virtual reality to entice the readers. They're definitely embracing technology. It's not that they have to, it's that who we see today, they already have.
Yeah. And the reason they're still around is because they have. The ones that have not are basically, as you say, have fallen by the wayside. So the New York Times, the Washington Post, all of them have their apps. They're all solidly entrenched. These are all large newspapers. The LA Times, they have all embraced the technology and have grown. It's like anything else out there. If you don't embrace technology, chances are you're not going to be around for a very long time. Okay. All right. This next story. How many of you? And I was gratified to read this. This is from Max PC's Paul Lilly. Not all cables are created equal, as you're about to find out. And this story again, Google engineer warns against shoddy USB Type-C cables on Amazon. It's true. Not all. If you buy a cable from a Belkin or a reliable source, you're fairly assured that they're going to be well made and will perform well. But according to this story, again, all cables are not created equal. He says, you might already know that, but to drive the point home, an engineer at Google has begun leaving user reviews on Amazon for a variety of USB Type-C cables. These are the ones that are reversible. You can't plug them in wrong, which I really like, by the way. The Google engineer's name is Benson Lang, and he has a vested interest in weeding the market of really bad Type-C cable. Along the items he has helped create are 2 Pixel products that use the Type-C connector and take advantage of its related technologies like power delivery, alternate mode, and USB 3.1. Now, he's quoted saying, it's really an amazing little connector. However, now that there are more and more Type-C products rolling out from Nexus, OnePlus, Nokia, and more, this I have found painfully true. USB Type-C will only be as good as its ecosystem, and more specifically, the worst of its ecosystem. He said that he decided to review USB cables on Amazon because, quite frankly, he's fed up with the early cables from third-party vendors who so blatantly flaunt the specification, and he wants to hold them to task. They come out and they the guidelines that are there. They're either meeting them minimally or even not meeting them at all. Now, this is more than just an annoyance. A poorly made cable doesn't just result in weird behavior. It's actually downright dangerous to use, according to him. He notes this in some of his reviews, including a cable creation USB 3.1 Type-C, USB-C to standard micro USB B female adapter, which he states may cause damage to USB charger, PC, or even the hub. Of that particular cable, he says it doesn't correctly follow the USB Type-C specification for power delivery identification. That's because it advertises itself as a 3A cable, but that is not appropriate because this is a legacy host port adapter. Some symptoms he noted in his reviews are less harmful, like not being able to charge the Chromebook Pixel. Now, he says it's not all bad news. He says some cables pass muster and earned a 5-star rating from him, including the iOrange E's 6.6 foot braided Type-C cable. That one actually exceeds his expectations, he says. So basically, if you want to check out his reviews on Amazon, you certainly can. But, let the buyer beware. Not all of these cables are created equal. And, if the price is too good to be true, maybe, in fact, it is too good to be true. You want to get your cables from a reliable source. As I said, like a Belkin is a perfect example that companies that are known for making quality cables and stand behind them, by the way. So,
see, things like these testings, it's nice to see someone actually go out there, hunt it down, and do the legwork and do the research himself. And that's great. We need more of that. But at the same time, I feel it's a little pointless at this point.
Why? Because there are not that many Type-C connector products?
No, because we have these magical little things called online reviews. And, if there's something really, really wrong with a product, almost every online retailer is going to give you some way to look at the other reviews and other people who have purchased this product to leave a review of the product. And, if it doesn't do something as simple as this did not charge my device, that's gonna show through. Maybe not day one, but if you go with an established company and an established product, you're going to be able to see right off the bat. This thing has a slew of 1 and 2 star reviews and almost 0 5-star reviews. Maybe it's not a very good product.
Yeah. And again, it is kind of new. So as Ben had alluded to, you might not see very many reviews for these types of cables. Certainly you will find for HDMI cables, that type of thing, you're going to find reviews. You want to make sure that you get them from a good source. But the Type-C USB cables are still relatively new, and there might not be as many user comments about them. However, again, as I stated, if you stick with a reliable source like a brand name, like a company like Belkin or something along those lines, you're fairly.
But of course, always check the reviews as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm not saying you shouldn't.
Right.
Okay.
So, next story. There are so many good stories. How about we do the Expedia?
Okay.
They do travel things. We've had them on the show, I believe.
Yes, we have. We've had
Yes.
Expedia on the show.
Not too long ago. And this is just showing that Expedia, as we were saying before with the New York Times, embracing new technology. This is from Engadget and Mariella Moon. And Expedia to pay $3.9 billion for Airbnb competitor HomeAway. HomeAway is actually pretty big, so makes complete sense. The short-term rental market is growing, and Expedia understandably wants a piece of it. So after snapping up Orbitz and Travelocity, I didn't know they gobbled up those two.
Yeah.
So it has now decided to purchase HomeAway. It's an online service that focuses on renting out vacation homes, further intensifying Expedia's rivalry with Airbnb. The travel empire has been displaying HomeAway properties alongside hotels for a couple of years, but it will now completely own the company and all its brands. Expedia admits that it agreed to pay a hefty $3.9 billion for HomeAway, because it has long had its eye on the fast-growing $100 billion alternative accommodation space. Both companies are expecting to close the deal in 2016, and if they attain the regulatory approval, Expedia will pay in cash about $38.31 per share. Shareholders would not be too disappointed,
No.
but safe to say that Expedia, and of course by extension Orbitz and Travelocity, could be further integrating alternate rental situations. No longer will it just serve you hotel rooms or motels or things like that. It will now start showing you people's homes.
It makes a lot of sense. It really does. The effect that when you go to, you're obviously going to be traveling. You're going to get your tickets. You might want the same website offers car rentals, hotels, and why not alternative places to stay. It makes a lot of sense.
All these different travel sites are definitely trying to be a one-stop shop, and adding, Airbnb and HomeAway style listings is definitely an addition to that one-stop shop.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. All right, you're listening to the Computer America Show. Ben and I are doing computer technology news brought to you by Slimware Utilities. We've got lots more stories coming up. We're going to take a short break. Another news tips bulletin review coming up as well. We will be right back. You're listening to the Computer America Show. Hi, this is Craig Crossman, host of the Computer America Show. You have important meetings to schedule. Your company's getting ready for its IPO, and you're in charge of the PTA fundraiser this month. So how do you coordinate everyone to be available at the same time? Are you still using emails, phone calls, even text messages to schedule meetings with a group of people? How's that working out for you? Not so great, huh? It's a fact that every day, millions of people suffer from scheduling headaches. Well, with Doodle, scheduling meetings with a group of people is quick and easy. With Doodle, you can easily propose available times to each member. Each one checks off the times that they're available, and then you simply pick the time that works best for the group, all in an easy-to-read display that integrates with your existing calendar. Nothing could be more simple. Give Doodle a try for free, and like millions of Doodle users, you'll truly see how easy it is to find the perfect date and time for all your meetings. That's www.doodle.com. Looking for a best friend? Brother Wolf Animal Rescue has your best friend waiting just for you. The mission of Brother Wolf Animal Rescue is to help build a sustainable, no-kill community where no dogs or cats are ever killed for population control, where true euthanasia is reserved only for animals who are irremediably suffering or for animals who are truly a threat to society and with no hope of rehabilitation. Brother Wolf staff and volunteers go door to door, neighborhood by neighborhood, to educate citizens about local resources available for at-risk pets and to help their families connect with those resources. Brother Wolf's community-based approach to no-kill helps keep family pets healthy, happy, and in their homes and out of the local shelter system in the first place. For more information or to make a tax-deductible donation to this wonderful 501c3 organization, visit their website at www.bwar.org. Help to realize Brother Wolf's vision when no animal is euthanized for lack of a home.
Who's a good boy?
Bob Hope said they had a candidate for every voter. Oh, hi, Marty Winston with a News Tips Bulletin Review. This time, glider gloves. We've seen touchscreen gloves before. We've had nice warm gloves before. We've had thin and nimble gloves before. And we've had slip-to-turn gloves before. But some crafty Canadians found a way to get all that into a single design. Glider Gloves sent an urban-style pair that uses a conductive yarn in a warm but thin layered construction with little rubbery hexagon patterns between the knuckles, on your finger, and around the palm. As cool as accurate touch control can be, it's not useful if your gloves are so slippery that you keep dropping your phone. These aren't. Bottom line, we have to hand it to Glider Gloves for parlaying a good grip, warmth, and thinness that doesn't bulk out your fingertip so you don't lose touch with your touchscreen. Marty Winston, News Tips Bulletin for Computer America.
Welcome back to the Computer America Show. 33 minutes past the hour, and yeah, we're doing computer and technology news as per usual. Brought to you by Slimware Utilities, and just finished up the Expedia story, and we are moving on to bigger and better things.
Yep.
With the next story.
This one from Engadget. YouTube is rolling out support for virtual reality video. See, virtual reality is coming to a YouTube near you. Evidently, Google CEO Sundar Pichai took to Twitter today to announce that YouTube Now, and that's the new YouTube. YouTube Now supports VR video. Okay?
YouTube Red is the new service.
Yeah, no, it's not YouTube. It just says YouTube Now supports VR video. It doesn't necessarily be YouTube Red. YouTube is going to support it in general. The site already offers 360-degree videos, but now has officially added cardboard support as well. Okay. Compatible videos will now display a cardboard icon at the watch page menu. And if you see that little cardboard icon, guess what? You can now have VR video. I should, I haven't. Since you can make this yourself, I should just probably download the cardboard insert and make it. It looks really cool.
Well, you can order the kits online. I mean, they show up at your door. They're folded little pieces of cardboard. They're really not that expensive. They're like a couple bucks.
Yeah, and you can get the virtual reality. I should try it just to see what it's going to be like. And it looks really simple to do.
Yeah, and by the way, for anyone out there who doesn't really watch TV and commercials and all that good stuff, I did just see the other day the de facto toy line that you'd think would be all over this virtual reality, and it turns out they are. There's a new toy line out there from the great makers of the Viewmaster.
Oh, yeah?
They're coming out with a line of toys for kids and virtual reality that you give to your kid, and it has different scenes and has different little games that they can play, all while looking through something that looks eerily similar to a Viewmaster
from the days of yore. Exactly.
Yep.
See, they're embracing technology. They're not just don't have the old use of the little wheel that you would put in and had all the little film views, and you would click it, and now they're just they're modernizing. Everybody has to.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So good point.
Yep. So this next story, let's do. Okay, how about top 10 things you shouldn't do in court? And we're not even going to do 1 through 10. We're just going to do number 1, and that's complain on Facebook about being on a jury.
Really?
So, and this is from Ars Technica, Mr. Joe Mullen, and title: I'm dying from boredom. Jurors' Facebook musings lead to $1,000 fine.
Wow.
Yeah. So they said that he explained himself. She explained herself by saying, "I continue my personal life as if I was not there to judge a trial. It was my first time as a juror, and I was naive." You could say that. You can say that again. So Ellis was sitting on a robbery trial in Queens last year and posted Facebook updates with details about the trial, despite the judge's orders not to. So everything about this process is inefficient, she wrote. I'm trying to remain positive and centered, but truthfully, I'm dying from boredom. So once deliberations began, she kept posting, writing, God help me, the other jurors don't trust the police and want to outright dismiss the confessions as well as a majority of the rest of the evidence. Tomorrow is going to be a very difficult day.
Aren't jurors advised and cautioned and warned not to?
Yeah, every single one of them, and her too.
And yet it
says right there. I just said it like 2 seconds ago. Craig, pay attention.
Yeah. No.
Posted Facebook updates with details about the trial, despite the judge's orders not to.
Yeah, there you go. She went ahead. Okay.
So one of Ellis's Facebook friends, a former prosecutor, reported her postings. Some friend. He was confronted by Queens Supreme Court Justice about the post on September 30th. Saying that, and they actually said here that I suppose I forget it's so public and it's Facebook and it's something that I use a lot. And I'm pretty quiet in my day-to-day dealings with people, so it's just a way for me to, express myself. I wasn't thinking clearly. I apologize. While the apology didn't help, Ellis was taken off the jury. There were 11 left with no alternatives, and the case was declared a mistrial.
Oh my gosh.
So she actually derailed the whole thing.
So she's held in contempt of court.
So yeah, she says, I feel terrible. I never meant to hurt anyone, and I wasted a lot of people's time and money, and I deeply regret what I did. She also said that she's afraid of losing her job, where she worked for 19 years due to the jury incident. Saying that her ex-husband is disabled and raises her 2 kids, and I'm afraid what will impact them. Very, very scary. But this is something you should that is said time and time again. If you have to report for jury duty, do not discuss elements of the trial to anyone, or especially on social media, and don't do it while you're sitting there.
Yeah.
So all of that, and now maybe her job may be in danger, but $1,000 fine and the whole trial thrown out because she had to post it on Facebook.
So they're only hitting her with $1,000 fine? Is that's what they're doing? That's the worst case in this particular thing? Or you think she'll lose her job over this? I don't know.
Maybe.
Well, when we are responsible for our actions, and I don't know. That would be considered to be too harsh. It's the first time she ever did something. It's a first offense. Maybe I guess we'll just have to. I don't know if they'll follow up on this, but what do you think should happen to her, Ben?
I think that she received $1,000 fine. I think she got what was coming to her. She was obviously naive. She apologized. If I was a judge over this, I'd just say, the fine was enough. You apologize. Don't do it again. She's obviously now an example because she had national attention brought to her. And now hopefully someone else out there won't do the exact same thing.
I don't know. I hope she doesn't.
I think that's it.
Yeah, I hope she doesn't lose her job over it, really. I think she's paid enough. She's paid the fine, and she's apologized, and she's remorseful. So, okay. This next story from Engadget, Nick Summers wrote this. Evidently, developers can now sell in-game items through Steam. Okay. So, as you recall, the people over at Valve had introduced a new Steam feature called Item Store, which, as its name implies, makes it easier for game developers to manage and sell microtransactions. Okay, we talked a little bit about the microtransactions. Well, Facepunch Studios has already jumped on board, creating a marketplace for its DayZ-inspired survival title, Rust. Now, it sits inside the Steam client, and any items you buy are added to your inventory automatically. So what's the point? Well, this feature means indie developers no longer have to build in-game stores from scratch. They can also be used to manage user-made items. As Eurogamer reports, developers can integrate their stores with Steam workshops and set their own item prices. Steam handles the checkout process and promises to split the payments between workshop authors as appropriate. What's not clear, however, is whether the developer will take a cut on community-made items. Earlier this year, Valve faced enormous backlash when it tried to introduce paid Skyrim mods. Hopefully, it's learned from that mistake and really thought this initiative through. So there you go. You can buy stuff right from within the game through Steam.
Yep.
Very cool.
All right. So there's not really much to say about that one. I mean, the story is that now this is at a much lower level than just on a game-to-game basis. And I'm sure Steam is going to be getting a portion of this action when you purchase things. And I'm sure content developers, they really like the fact that you can now have a single, easy to browse through place to find things that people want to buy. Hopefully get them a little bit more traction. So, I mean, this is a traditional win-win-win for all. And it's just good to see.
Yeah, and if you look at the item there, you can see you can see the Rust item store. They actually have a screenshot of what it looks like on the story, and you can just pick the items you want. You can pick the Reaper note pistol. They're showing some of the things you got. The punk boots. All the items are there. You just select what you want. The pricing is there, and you can just click on it, and you're done. And it's right within the game. Very cool.
Anywho, this next one is one that we probably should have covered a little bit earlier, but just didn't really feel like doing it. But no better time than the present to tackle this. This is coming from DSL Reports. Yes, DSL. DSL Reports, and this is about Comcast.
Again.
The world's favorite company.
Yeah.
And this is about Comcast, and consumer groups are urging government to stop Comcast usage caps. So for anyone out there who doesn't know, over the past couple months, maybe even past couple years, Comcast has been experimenting in the Southeast. So think Atlanta, parts of Florida, parts of Georgia and Alabama. They've been experimenting with data caps on, just traditional home internet connections. And they've settled on about 300 gigabits, 300 gigabytes of data before they start to charge you for $10 for every 50 gigs over that you use. And so that is, lots of people hit it, and a couple people are, hitting it repeatedly. So it's not like 300 gigs is, don't get me wrong, it's a pretty big amount. It's, something that I think a lot of people are going to fall under. But if you have to download if you download a couple games like I do, or you stream constantly, or you just consume data at a larger rate, these data caps are very, very prohibitive to your internet experience. And the traditional line was, this helps data caps helps Comcast deal with congestion, and they have completely thrown out that excuse. Like Comcast is no longer saying that this is to help with congestion. Now they're saying that these things, that data caps are now being implemented in terms of fairness. That's their new line. So if you call and complain, they said, well, we do this as a standard practice now because of fairness and to make sure that everyone is getting their fair share of the internet, which is, again, bogus. It's bogus. Yeah, so 300 gigs and $10 per 50 gigs after that. And it's up until this point, it's only been in a few markets, but they are expanding now to almost all of the Southeast.
Now, they offer an option of paying $30 to $35 more per month, and you can avoid the new limits entirely.
Right. So if you just take your traditional internet usage and you're hitting those caps all the time, you just got a $30 to $35 increase just because.
Yeah.
Just because.
Then you won't get hit. You won't hit the cap again.
But still, I feel like no one should have to pay $30 a month more just because you use your internet.
Yeah. And we're going to see this. This is not going away. This is just going to continue to grow. This is something that
we could see it go away, because these are these have been just so against consumer interest that the FCC, this is their job to regulate things like this. Wow. And the FCC has come down hard on cell phone carriers in terms of data caps and data usage, claiming when they're using 4G, when they're not using 4G. Data concerns definitely fall into the purview of the FCC. So they're writing the FCC in regards to this, and it's going to be a new fight that they're going to take to them. And hopefully, with enough attention and enough support from the public, we could see data caps go away, because really there is no real purpose behind it. It's just tacking on more dollars to people who, really they don't deserve it.
Would you concur that Comcast has the bandwidth? They're not struggling.
For sure. If their infrastructure is failing, that would be their fault for letting their infrastructure go by the wayside.
Yeah.
It's not the consumer's fault for using the internet for its intended purposes.
Right.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're running a data server out of your basement without telling Comcast, and you're still paying for, and you're still paying the consumer level, yeah, hey, they have the right to bring up some questions.
Mhm.
But just throwing out an arbitrary cap and limit for no reason is just ridiculous.
It says here that the FCC is going to be reluctant to open this new fight, but not going to be necessarily eager to do it, is the wording, according to the story. But but it and they're saying that it might hopefully might have its competition spurring policies will handle usage caps as a matter of course. So that's what the agency is.
They're hoping that companies who don't provide data caps are going to be more enticing to people, so that hey, Comcast has data caps. X company does not. Go to X company if you don't like data caps, and let the free market kind of work itself out.
Mm-hmm.
But in a lot of places where Comcast is, they don't really have competitors. We keep talking about this monopoly or duopoly that a lot of places have. And hey, if Comcast is the only place that provides you with broadband service, you are forced to use them, and then you are forced to stay under their data cap.
Mm-hmm.
So I think this is going to be one for the FCC to actually fight over. They can hope it goes away on its own, but not in the current state.
Mm. It's going to be another long battle if they do. It's not going to go away quickly and easily, which we'd certainly like for it to do so. But these things seem to take a lot of time. And then after they resolve it, then they come up with something else, and it seems to start all over again. I mean, This is what net neutrality was all about. We got that now, and now they're coming up with this.
Well, there's always going to be a fight, and the companies pushing for these things and the legislation behind it, they truly do hope that you get tired of it. They hope that you get bored of hearing about it, so that they can do just what it is that they set out to do in the first place. It's kind of your job as a responsible
consumer, internet
using citizen, to pay attention to what is happening, and why is it happening, and who wants it to happen that way. Mm-hmm. It's not fun. It's not easy. And believe me, it gets tedious to hear about caps and about usage cases and net neutrality and who can do this and who can do that. It gets boring. It really doesn't affect your day to day. But if you stop paying attention, it will very soon.
Yeah. Well, again, you have to. We'll keep you apprised of this as it continues to unfold, and it obviously certainly will. Let's face it, companies find a way to make a profit. They're going to try to foist it on the consumers, and I guess it's going to take an agency like the FCC to prevent it from happening. Okay. Do we have time to do one more story? Maybe a quick one.
You got 8 minutes.
All right. BlackBerry can bypass carriers to deliver Android security features. Multiple Android phone makers are promising monthly security updates, but there's a big gotcha. They typically have to get approval from carriers, which means you'll have to wait weeks before those updates arrive. BlackBerry won't be making that compromise with the PRIV. However, it's not only planning to deliver monthly security updates, but won't always have to go through the carriers to do it. BlackBerry claims it can directly patch every PRIV model, even if it's locked to a specific network. That's nice. The smartphone maker will work with its partners on pushing fixes when it can, but it'll skip the queue and deliver an out-of-cycle patch if there's a major vulnerability. That's a nice feature. The company is also throwing a bone to IT managers who have lost control over updates in their smartphones era. If you're using a corporate-issued PRIV, the company can decide just when you'll get patches. That all-important company app won't break just because you were a little too eager to get the latest Android flavor. This isn't so hot if you always want to have the latest and greatest, but it could prevent some office chaos. it goes on to say that these office policies won't necessarily make you toss your existing Android phone, especially if you're using a Nexus or some other unlocked device that isn't beholding to carriers. However, they could be big deals if you regularly use your phone for work, especially if it's a personally owned device. Many companies tend to pick iOS over Android when choosing smartphones, in part because they can't guarantee timely security updates. That shouldn't be an issue with the Priv, where you may be protected against attacks well before most of your Android touting peers. So another reason that you might want to take a look at I still don't know how to pronounce it. Is it Privy or is it Priv? I don't know. Priv. So,
I like Privy.
Privy. Okay. It's a nice looking phone. I mean, you're looking at it. It's got it's got the actual keyboard. It slides.
And obviously, they're trying to stick to what made the original BlackBerry successful, and that they're giving tools back to the IT professionals and just back to the companies that are going to deploy these things. That was why BlackBerry was the favorite of enterprise and corporate world. Is that they had better security, they had a closed environment that you could have these phones and have a secure network only on these phones. So it's nice to see that BlackBerry is still retaining their right to push updates and just kind of keep their system, even though it's Android now, still pretty closed and more secure than your average Android phone.
Yeah, exactly. But again, this is something that they're going to implement, and looking forward to see how they fare, because I think this is their last ditch effort for BlackBerry. If this phone doesn't make it, it's going to be bad for them, and certainly want to see something good happen to BlackBerry. So I think anything else we can do, or are we?
I mean, as soon as the show ends here in a couple minutes, I'm going to go see what all the hubbub was about. NASA had a live press conference, and it seems like lately they've been having those more and more, but they only do them when they have something important to say. And last time that they had a live press conference, they announced that they found liquid water on Mars.
Yeah.
So they said that today's is going to be about Mars's atmosphere. Not really too sure what it's going to be about. I'm going to find out again after the show. But it was scheduled to happen at 4:00 Eastern today. So if you're interested in anything Mars or space related, NASA is going to, I believe, reveal about the definitive evidence of what happened behind Mars's atmosphere and why Mars is the way it is. Like, why is it so uninhabitable when, by all accounts, it should be covered in water and just as habitable as Earth? But they have something to announce, and I can't wait to go find out just what it is.
Okay, and we'll talk about that tomorrow on tomorrow's show too. We didn't get time to talk about Netflix. Where Time Warner hints that Netflix may be too powerful for its own good, but we'll have time maybe to do some of these stories on tomorrow afternoon show, anyhow. But about wraps it up. Coming up tomorrow's program, in the first hour, we're going to have Creopop. Creopop is going to be joining us on the program. We're going to have the company's founder and CEO joining us on here, Andreas Bernick. Now, if you want to know, Creopop they're billing Creopop as the world's first 3D pen with cool ink. That means it doesn't heat up. It works on a completely cool system. So if you're giving this to children or something, there is no danger of them burning themselves with the disposable, the ink product there. It works on cool ink. And although it's not necessarily for kids, it's just that it's unique in how it starts up. And we're going to be talking about the technology behind this pen. It's a very interesting looking pen. They're calling it a breakthrough innovation in 3D drawing in space. There's no hot parts or any melting plastic with this pen. And we're going to have them on in the first hour. In the second hour, we're going to have a company called Count, and that's spelled Kount. We're going to have the company's chief operations Officer Rich Stupp. He's going to be joining us. Count is all about boosting sales and beating fraud. In other words, basically, they provide a method to basically
90 seconds.
They what they do is their platform analyzes hundreds of relevant variables and activity across the globe in real time to provide the most accurate fraud protection available. And it's really very different. And we're going to have them on in the second hour of the show talking about this and how they protect you, the general consumer. They're going to be in the second hour. And of course, if we have time, we'll do a computer technology news.
60 seconds.
Brought to you by Slimware Utilities. Also, it's Friday, and we're going to have our social media contest, winner of the week. So if you haven't registered for the social, you still have time, because tomorrow afternoon we're going to be announcing the winner for that Logitech MX2 Anywhere wireless mouse valued at $80. So why not? It's free. Get your entry in right now, and who knows, we may be calling your name tomorrow when you join us. Anyway, thank you so much for joining us here. It was a lot of fun. And again, thanks to our first guest from InfoStreet. So until tomorrow afternoon, this is Craig Crossman, hoping that your hard disk never becomes floppy. We'll see you tomorrow afternoon.
Have a good one, everyone.
10 seconds.
Bye-bye.
Thank you for using Blog Talk Radio. Goodbye.
Okay, again, thanks to everybody for watching. And Ben and I will see you tomorrow, Friday. Get your entry in. Have a good one.
Bye.